Hello, good morning again. So today we are learning something new, right? Something new. Okay, what is that? T3 stack. Basically, the best way to start a full stack type safe Next.js app. This is what it means, right? So we know Next.js, okay? We know TypeScript, right? And we know how to build full stack using Prisma and the Jod validations, Tailwind CSS, and all that, right? But they come up with some smart maybe smart people, very smart people, right? They come up with this stack and implement all this nicely, right? They said, okay, we will just create the some kind of template, like create basically like working in the proper way, right? So that you have no chance to make mistakes while like sending data from database to your front page, or maybe from database to API, and then from there displaying something, right, to your front page, like UI. There will be no chance of making mistakes while fetching data, or maybe communication, right? When you're doing the communication from back in front in all that things, everything will be safely done through the type safe, right? It's a TypeScript safest way of writing code. That is all, right. So this is nothing but just the one of the stacks similar to Next.js, right? So let's first what we're gonna do. I'm gonna create one project in my GitHub, right? So let's do that one. So let's create new. Here I will call it K with T3 app, right? Something like that. Okay. Uh, let's leave the description optional, public. I'll just write this, create, and I'm gonna clone this. Okay. So we'll just put it here in the git clone, right? Git clone. Oh, I cannot. I think I did mistake. I have to use SSH. I mean HTTP will be okay, but because I have two different GitHub, right, in different two names. Okay, so I'm using this SSH key basically to handle both sides. So I have to use this to work properly in my system. Git clone, and I don't know why these two. So I get this T3 app here, right? Going down. What I will do, I'm just gonna delete this README file, because I know when I install the package, right, it will give me the git readme file cd to t3. Now I will switch to this folder in my command line. Here you can see this t3 app as the main directory. Now so let's install, right, the t3 app, or basically t3 stack. Okay, I need to drag this down here. So go to t3, copy here. I'm using npm package manager, right? So I'll just use or select npm, then go back to my terminal, right click, space slash. Make sure you are in the correct folder, okay, from which you uh, clone from your GitHub, right? And then in that folder you're gonna install. So enter, right? I'm installing directly in that one. So it will ask me, maybe if this is first time, it will ask you to click S to install something, right? So you just type Y and enter, then you will reach here. Okay. We're gonna use TypeScript. So you can see it's selected. You can move up and down, right, with your up and down arrow key. So TypeScript, enter. Will you be using Tailwind CSS for styling? Yes, enter. Will you like to use TRCP, right? Yes. What authentication provider will you like to use? So none, or maybe we're gonna use the next auth, right? That is the requirement. So we use next auth. Then what database ORM will you like to use? We're going to use Prisma. That is a requirement for the project. And what will you like to use Next.js app router? Yes, we're going to use app router, right? And then see the SQLite right here. I mean, you can select Postgres SQL, but SQLite, right, is there already. So we can just say SQLite enter, right? Will you should we initialize a Git repository and stage the changes, right? I mean, it's already in the Git repository, so just keep it yes, no problem. Should we run npm install for you? Yes. Again, what will be the alias, right? So what I will do is I'll just put @ slash, right? So that will be our alias, means import. When you import, @ slash will be the root route, right? Root, and then from maybe slash components @ slash whatever, right? API, whatever is we have to go to the folder, right? So that will be the root folder. Okay, enter. Already warning already exists and is not empty. Will you like to proceed? Warning or what is that? Already exists and is not empty, right? Will you like to proceed? Abort installation, clean directory, and continue installation, right? So I don't know what it conflict with, right? Scaffolding. I think something is like clear the directory and continue installation. So I'll just not abort. I'll just clear the directory and continue installation, right? Let's do that one. Maybe I think because our folder was already git because we clone for the GitHub, right? So it's already initialized. Okay, so I should not have initialized again. Maybe that is the reasons, but let's call it, right? Clear the directory, or just continue installation and override the conflicting files, right? Are you sure you want to override conflicting file? Yes. Let's see what happened. Okay, I don't know why it's create error. I'm not sure, right? But anyway, let's check here now. So this is the folder, right? Let's. So I mean, it's here. I just want to see if this is okay or not, right? Git stat. Let's check the Git status. Something is not correct. Command failed. Okay, so let's npm. Let's do npm run dev, right? Development. Okay. So T3 next is not recognized as an internal or external command, right? Operable program or batch file. Npm run dev. So go back here and check now. Build. So npm run dev. We have the dev. Okay, so I don't know why npm run dev. Right? Yeah, so something went wrong, guys. I don't know what happened. Something went wrong, right? So what I will do is I'm just gonna delete this and try to restart. It should work, So if I do npm install, right? That was the installation part, right? I mean, if you install like that, it should work. Okay, the only thing is when you do npm run dev, right, what gonna happen is it will ask you for the environment variable, right? For example, it will ask for your Discord client ID and Discord client secret, right? Because by default it is using Discord to log into your account, right? Discord for your authentication. Okay, so we gonna use GitHub, right? But let's first see if this is working. Okay, I mean, just we have to make sure this can run and ask us at least, okay, need this environment variable, right? Up to that point, then we're gonna start configuring our authentication. That will be the next step. But if it will not work, then maybe we have to reinstall, right? So let's see. Yeah, so something happens. Let's try it now, right? npm run dev again, right? So now something went here. Let's see. So now it's asking for the Discord client ID and the Discord secret, right? So we're gonna use GitHub. What I'm gonna do now, right? Let me close and open this again, okay? So that it will be easy for me to work, right? Folder. I just want to go exactly in the same folder, right? So T3, open that. So if I go to the search now, let's go search here, and then I just type Discord, right? DISCORD, right? You see, this many places there is Discord. We will try to understand, okay? In the env.js readme file, I'm not worried about that, right? That's okay. Then we have in the example, okay, example also, we not worry about that. Now auth.js, right? There will be in the auth.js, okay? env and auth.js, and might be in the env also, .env also, right? So we will check all that. First, what we're gonna need is create the authentication. Basically, our GitHub ID and secret, right? So let's do that one. So go back here in your setting, right? Setting, and go to the bottom, okay? Developer setting. Then OAuth app, right? Select on that, and then just click on. I created one here, right? If I go and open this, you can see this, okay? So how we can get here, right? Is basically after OAuth, you click on new auth, give the name, right? Maybe T3, something like that. T3 node, right? Then URL. So for now, it's localhost 3000, okay? This is for development, right? But if you have to create something for the production, you must put your production URL, right? You have to put www, maybe https / e5.com, right? Something like that. And then authorized URL will be like this: http localhost 3000 API auth callback GitHub, right? So I'll just make it T3 node. I'll just leave it that. And API localhost API auth callback GitHub, right? Put that one, and register application, okay? Once you do that, you will reach here, right? So you have the client ID. Let's copy this client ID. And where are we going to store, right? So I'll just go to here and find the env file. For now, see, this is the one, right? So what I will do, I'll just change this to GitHub, like that. GitHub, right? And ID will go here, okay? We need to get the secret also. So generate secret, you provide your password, confirm, and it will generate, right? So copy this and place here, okay? And then just, I think, update, yeah, update the application. So we're done, right? We have the, like the information to authenticate, right? Our GitHub will use for authentication, okay? So we're done with that one. Let me go to the home page, maybe somewhere. Profile. So we're gonna push our code here later, but for now, So you have the .env file, maybe in the git ignore. Let's see if there is ignore or not. We have to check that. Yeah, this ignore, right? That is good. So now what I will do, I'm just gonna find, or basically I will search this code, right, and change every places. Okay, this code. So example, I'm not worried about. This is just example. If you go to the example, right, uh, in the example, just example. Okay, it does not matter. You can comment that out or delete it. It will not affect. Even if you leave it like that, it will not affect, right? So let's comment that out. We don't need. A readme file does not matter. env.js. Let's go to this env.js, right? So env.js. Here you set up the environment, like type checking for your, because you are using that, you are passing that variable, right, from .env to somewhere to use. Okay, so if you go back here, see, this is, here we put this environment variable. Maybe you're gonna use GitHub, right? Oh, sorry, Google also. You have to use same way, Google client ID, Google client secret. You have to do that. One more thing, right? Look at this. For authentication, you're gonna need this secret also, right? Auth secret. Okay. So here you have to add something. It says use this one, but because I have not installed the OpenSSL in my system, I will be not able to get, right. So better idea will be, I think we have in the auth.js, right? If you go to the uh, installation, right, on the first page, I just use this one to generate. Okay, so let's do that. It will give us some key, right? I mean, some just long number, and it added in the local here, right? We can copy this, or just copy everything. I'll just copy here, go back, and that is next auth secret, and just put it here, right? So now is auth secret, but they are giving next auth secret. I don't know. Maybe we can write next auth secret, but what I was reading the documentation, I think few weeks before, right? Auth, if you put auth secret, then like next auth will automatically recognize all these variables. But we are passing through the, like type checking and all that, right? So any name will be fine. Okay, but not, that will not affect anything. So we can delete this local. We don't need. This is just a random number, right? Okay, this is just a random. Even if you put like yourself something, is fine. That will work. You just need some kind of secret. All right, so the next step is what we need to do now, right? Yeah, so we're gonna do env. Now this is the env.js file, right? And here you see creating the environment variable, right? So database URL, we have the database URL here, somewhere here. This is the one, database URL, because we have SQLite locally in the system now, right? This is the path to access that database. Okay, that is fine. We can leave it. If we're going to use Postgres SQL, then we have to use like, Postgres colon, like whatever the username, passwords, slash database name and all that, right? But this will be fine. Okay, we can leave that one. So that is just a string, right? Database URL is just a string. There is some enums, like you can define the enums here. Development, test, production, whatever. Default is development, fine. We can leave that one. Secret, we have the secret, right? Already added the information. Secret, next dot secret key. URL, so next auth URL, right? Process, how it gonna read now? Let me see. I mean, basically this is just checking, right? This makes Vercel deployment not fail if. Okay, so it's basically gonna use when you are deploying to the Vercel, right? So let's not worry about that. That is fine. The thing is here, right? So remember what name we have used here? Must be same now. Okay, so GitHub client must be same name. If you type mistake, then you're gonna see the red error. So, GitHub, right? GitHub client. So if I remove B here and save, right, it will complain somewhere. Okay, so just put it git sub, right? GitHub client secret. So this name now, we have the Zod imported Zod, right? This name is what? This is just a string. This is just a string, right? Okay. Now let's see here. So runtime environment, this will create the runtime environment. When this project runs, right, it will add all this environment in our Node.js memory, right? So we don't need this code now, we need GitHub, right? So see on the top, there is type define, okay? Now process.env dot in the environment variable, we have GitHub client ID. Same thing here, right? This is setting the environment variable, okay? Runtime environment, right? Also, we have client secret GitHub. Error is gone now, right? And yeah, I think that is all we need. So basically, you have to change the env file, because if you need GitHub, you're gonna set up, right? Let's say you're gonna use maybe Google also, right? So you have to set up everything same like above, okay? Google underscore client, same thing, right? First you have to define the types here, and then you're gonna pass the environment variable to your runtime, right here, and that should be fine. Okay, so once we have that ready, let's try now and run the system again. I think that is all we have. Let me check. We finished with the, okay, now in the auth, right? Let's check in the auth TS. Okay, so if I click here, I'll just go here now, right? So in this server, right, in the server auth TS, and see how it is working, right? So we have to find the Discord somewhere. User ID will be string, session. So the provider, right? Because remember in our auth TS, before we have to define the providers and all that, which provider we are using. So we are using GitHub, right? So let me delete this and I will just import import GitHub from next auth provider GitHub, right? That is fine. And we can go back to the session, will be session, okay, callback session and user, that is okay. Adapter will be Prisma adapter, we are using the Prisma, right? So we are just passing the DB, that is basically the Prisma client, right, as adapter also. And then provider will be, now we're going to change this to GitHub. And client ID now is env dot GitHub, right? HUB. And here also env dot GitHub, right? Fine. So we now, we're gonna use GitHub to log in. We provide the like ID and secret, right, to the adapter. Basically, we just pass this to the next auth, right? Next auth, okay. Next auth says, okay, you have a provider, you give me your ID and secret, and the rest next auth will take care, right? That is all we have to do. I think that is all, right? The rest is fine. So in the future, if you get another provider, you just add here, right? Like next will be next, maybe Google, something like that. This is the first item of your array. Then you're gonna have, Google provider, and same thing, provide the ID and secret and all that. For credential, you have to do the same thing, right? The way we used to do for the credential as well. Okay, so that is all we have to do. Let's see. There is middleware. No, I don't see middleware. Right? Let's try and start the project now, right? Npm. Okay. So it's run now. It didn't ask for any variables, right? It has already what it needs. So localhost 3000. Yeah, we reach here, right? And now it has something already, some boilerplate. We're gonna go back and try to look at this, but for now let's see if we can log in or not, right? So sign in, and it will redirect me to the GitHub, right? I will click the GitHub, and now it asks me to authorize, right? So see the T3 node, right? That is the app I created in the GitHub, and anyone now try to log in through that. You just have to it will connect to your GitHub, right? Here you'll see your GitHub. I have something logged in my browser, so it just try to go there, right? Authorize, and it will okay, something went wrong, right? Error callback. Okay, I don't know why. Try sign in with the different account, right? Okay, something went wrong, guys. I don't know what. So it should work, but where is the mistake now? Hmm, where is the mistake? Let me see. So if we go here, Discord, auth ts still have. Okay, that is not right. That is not. That's the readme file. That's the example, right? So we have changed everything. That should not be any problem now. So something to do with our maybe, like here, right? So let's go back and try to use the old one. What I, like in my setting. Let's go back and try, right? Developer setting, auth. So I'll just use this one. I don't know what I did mistake, right? What I will do, I'm just gonna use this for now. I will copy this, right? Because I know it worked in here, right? So it should work in that place also. T3 app, homepage URL. I don't know if I missed something, right? So, and there is authorized URL. So it will be API auth callback, right? And then GitHub. That will be the authorized URL. Okay. So let's try to use this. Go back to the env file and add it here. Okay. Now I need to generate secret, right? Because this will only work one time. Okay. So just go back, regenerate secret, copy this, and use here, right? Okay. The next thing is you have to refresh. So, or maybe just update, right? Fine. I mean, I can delete. I can delete this. Okay. So this is current, which is working, right? So let's try now. Let me restart one time. Okay. When you make changes to your variables, you must restart, right? So npm run dev. We have the next secret. We have next auth URL, GitHub ID secret. So what is the problem? Okay, so click on sign in. uh I don't know, maybe something. Okay, let me, I think there is some session in my cookies, right? Maybe that is the issue. Okay, let me delete that. Sometimes just inspect. So if that happened, right, you just clean up your cookies. Okay, application, delete everything, refresh. Yeah, now I don't have, right? Okay, good. So let's try now again. Here, I think not update application, or maybe everything is fine, right? It looks okay. Can go back to the home page. That should be fine. Localhost 3000 and click on sign in now, right? And click sign in with GitHub. Sign in error callback, right? I'm just surprised, why this error is coming, right? I don't know. Let's see. API auth error callback, right? So we follow the proper procedure. Uh, okay. So guys, what happened now, right? Before we try to log in, see here in the schema, right? Prisma schema. Let's go back to the schema. Okay, we must push our data, right? It must, these things must go in the database. Okay, we have not pushed any uh, schema to the database. That's the reason, right? Because it need to create the user information in the database, right? If you look at the, like we are using adapter, right? Prisma adapter to handle the, like, database access, right? It needs database access. Okay, so where is that code? Let me quickly look at in the app here. If you go to the API now, right, and in the auth, this is okay. This is the handler, right? But the thing is, there will be somewhere the auth is inside the server, right? In the auth, if you look at this, that is session adapter, right? We are using Prisma adapter, and it is using that schema to basically access our database, right? Okay, so we have to push the code. Let's do that quickly. That was the only reason not working. Okay, so make sure you, when you start, like, once you're ready, right, just push your code by adding, cancel this, npx. How we do that? Npx prisma, npx prisma db, right? Push, just use that and it should work. Yeah, finally, right? So how we know if that is, I mean, all this schema, right, is added to the uh, database or not? We do npx prisma studio, right? We can do that, and you can see now, right? This means it's accessing the database, our local database, right? SQLite, and there is the user finally, right? So let's do one thing now. I'm gonna just create new terminal and start again, right? npm. That was the big mistake on my side, because when you use adapter, you must push your database to the basically you must put your schema, right, in the database. That's the point. Go to the local host, and you see right now user is empty right here, but soon we logged in, something you're gonna see here. Okay, now try to sign in. It's just taking some time. Sign in with GitHub, and we just logged in, right? Look at here, you can see my, the GitHub ID, and there is sign out, and here is simple, like, input box. uh, this is T3 app, right? For example, and if I submit, it will update here, right? So this is a UI. Basically, I'm from this one out. We can understand, right? See how this is working, okay? But you can see now we are logged in already. You can sign out. Once you logged in, only you're gonna see this, right? Uh, so let's see the next thing now, right? What we're gonna do is, like the next thing is basically creating the schema and all that thing. So, but let's understand the folder structure now, right? Our authentication is done, and I said when you logged in, right? You're gonna see the user information here. So ID, that's the name, like my user name of the GitHub. That's my email ID, right? Avatar and all that. So you have access to this user information, right? In the session, okay? If you look at here, the session is created also, right? There is session token, their ID expired in whatever time, right? Fine, so we get the idea now. So it's time to understand the folder structure and then creating the full stack project, right? But let's look at the folder structure now. See, one thing I was surprised, right? In the source folder, you see there is an app, because we said we're going to use app folder, right? For the routing and all that. And inside there is a components to write some components. So you can, in the component, we have the post component, right? Here, we come back that later. And there is an API, right? So the API has auth. So remember in auth.js, how it works, right? In the API, you have to go create auth, all cats route, next auth, and then inside will be route.js, right? And you export your handler get and post, okay? So that is the normal auth things here, right? It says in the auth, in your route, right? You can export this handler, that is fine. And yeah, so in the auth also, you're gonna do basically provider, right? You're gonna add all the provider in the auth. So we have the provider in the auth. We exporting this from the route, all cats route, and the export this, right? Basically get and post. So if there is post request or get request, this API route will run, right? Then middleware, we don't worry about middleware right now. So you get that is the next auth part now. Here is TRPC something, right? Something from the TRPC. Okay, I have not looked at all. So similarly, similar to the auth, there is TRPC, and some code is given already, right? So, and it also exporting like get and post. Okay, it's similar to something like a auth, right? It is also doing something like a auth. So we don't have to worry about this also. Let's close that. So in the app folder, in the app folder, right? We don't have to worry about anything for now. Only thing now, right? Let's look at your style is in the global CSS, that style folders. Then there is folder called TRPC. So we have query client, something React, and server TS, right? So okay, I think we no need to worry about that also for now. React also, I don't know, there is a lot of code also right here. Let's not worry about that. Query client also no need to worry, right? Server folder, let's look at the server folder now. So there is an API again, right? And there is a DB. So this DB is our Prisma, right? Prisma client, okay? Remember we used to do like Prisma client TS and add the code, right, for next auth. So here is that code, Prisma client code. So that every time we have to import DB and use it, right? That is the thing. So let's remember that is in the server, right? And auth is here. This is the important one for authentication, right? Auth TS, okay? Normally in our next project, we used to add in the like main folder, right? Main root folder, auth TS, and then we used to have auth config, but here we don't need auth config. I believe there is already auth option, right? And that auth option is passed here. Let's see. Declare module. This auth export auth option. So this will be used somewhere. That will be used in our API, right? This will be used somewhere. Okay. So there is adapter provider, fine, and then yeah, here. Okay, that's the one, right? So that avoids creating the auth config file. Okay, it's already here, right? Fine. So all the provider you're gonna add in this file. So that is, I mean, that is working. So we have logged in already, right? So let's not worry about that. Now this API now, right here, we have to write uh, all your like backend, right? All backend will be here. So remember we saw the form, right? And there is the input, like you're gonna type text and something display on after that, right? When you click. So something you're gonna find here. So root, there is nothing. ERCP, I don't see anything here. I mean, this will be something for useful, right? But let's not worry about that. I'm looking for the okay routers right here. Okay, that's the one. API routers. Here you're gonna create, right, for your schema. So this is the post, right? So let's find the Prisma and look at our schema here. So see, this is the post, right? This is the post schema. You just need a name, right? Here is a name, something we type, right? Here, like something you are typing, like title, whatever. Okay. This is new name, right? And submit. So what might happen, right? This is the input field. Just think for a second. Input field, you type something and that information is just displaying here, right? So that means whatever we type must be saved in the post, let's refresh this page, right? And we have the two posts already. This is the T3 app, this is the new name, right? So from here we just displaying the information, okay, like the latest post, right? What we are displaying here is latest post. This one is latest post. That is all, your most recent post and the last one. So we have to understand how that happened. Okay, that's the point, right? Is creating the data to the database. So let's try to understand. So in the router, we have this post ts file. You're gonna import Zod. You're gonna import create TRP router, right? Protected procedure, or what is that procedure, right? And public procedure. So these are the three functions. We can call it function or object, right? Let's call this object, okay, because they are the public. Yeah, we just use as an object. So these are the three objects, and this object can have many things, right? So every time, let's say you want to create like a server, right? Not server, but let's call it API. You want to create API to maybe CRUD operation, okay? Create or get all post or update or delete. What you're gonna do? You're gonna need this. You have to import this always. So copy paste, right? Now let's understand this, right? This part here. Post route, post, right? This is just a name, okay? Export const post route. Create TRP router, okay? Look at this. Just calling this one. It looks like in the beginning, because we have never seen, right? So it looks like very difficult, but what I understand is, okay, here is this is a function now, right? Here is a function, create TRP router. We just call that function first. Start here, right? That function start here and ints all the way down here. So you're gonna write everything inside that function. First thing, you just create an object and inside that object you're gonna write all your API, right? For CRUD operation, create, read, update, delete. First thing. So this is simple name for your first value or maybe function, whatever object. This is just a name, right? Property hello, public procedure. So this is this is the one, right? Public procedure. So there is one protected, right? Protected procedure and public procedure. Something like something only logged in or protected, like logged in person can do, right? That will go in protected procedure, and this will be publicly accessible, like even someone is not logged in can access. You want to access something without login, some value, then you can use this, right? That is the difference for my understanding. Okay, so let's look at this public procedure. Now here you're gonna get many property, right? Dot, there is something called input. Okay, so input, if we are getting some input, what is the input now, right? Let's say you have this function. Okay, function add, right? You're gonna send some value here, maybe num. This is input, right? So you have to define what is this input. Okay, how we define that here? Input, validate that whatever the input will be, right? Jod object, if that means this input is object, and inside there will be text property. Remember I put num, right? So that is text, and that is string, right? So we just define that input. Now you write query, you're gonna use that input, right? So just, this is input. Okay, this is input, just use that input here, and then return greeting, right? Hello input.text. So that is the public one, right? So when we will check how this name hello is called and used, right? Okay, somewhere wherever it is used, I have not checked yet. Okay, but see, when you call this, you should get hello input whatever text, right? Whatever text you're going to pass to that function, this becomes now function, right? So whatever you pass to that function will be maybe something, let's say hello, right? You're going to pass wherever it is used in the UI, right? You pass here, this is T3 app, for example. Okay, this text will be input.text will be added. Hello, this is T3 app. That's how you're going to see that. But we'll see where it is used. I have not seen until now. We're going to figure out. That is the one thing. Now let's look at the important is there is a form. There is a form, right? You type something. So you type, you're going to get some data. Again, there is input name, right? You're going to type that name. The form property will be name, right? Or even see, we're validating the database. So let's call it schema, or schema has name property. So that's why it must match, right? That is string and minimum 1 character required. Okay, mutation. Yeah, so now we're calling this mutation function, right? This will be, this function will take, so this mutation function, right? We have to check this function does so many things, maybe, right? But for now, what I understand is this function takes another function, and inside you do certain things, right? So this function has callback function. It has access to this property ctx. What is ctx now? For now, just remember this ctx is the Prisma client, right? You remember that Prisma dot create, Prisma dot something we used to do. Here will be ctx, exactly. So we are creating, we're gonna add something to our database. We're gonna need data, that is input. You're gonna need Prisma, right? And then return prisma.db. So the ctx has access to that db, right? Basically, and dot post. So this is the post schema, right? And create, and then you pass the data. So I hope you remember this prisma.post the schema, right? Dot create, and you pass data name. This name gonna have value from input.name, right? And created by. So if you want created by, like just user ID, right? So you just connect to the connect ID CTX session user ID, right? Again, this CTX have access to session also. So session user ID, very simple enough. Before we used to do like import auth and auth execute auth function and you get session, right? And then session.user.id. But here this has access already to the session also. So this is the thing now, right? This is the important part to create. Okay. This will be like a formula, right? Same every time you create something, you just copy paste, like change the schema here, whatever schema is, maybe that is node or maybe something else, and create and pass your data, which will be in the input, right? Now the get latest, because we are displaying also. So this is how you create. So in the form, wherever is that form, you're going to call this create, right? Now how you're going to get the latest post? So here is the API for that. Okay, so let's understand now. Protected procedure, you must be logged in, right, to get to access your database. Same formula, query async. So here same, right? Protected procedure, and because we want to query data, right, we want to find something, so we have to use this query method. And async function, that will take callback, basically callback function, which is asynchronous, right? It has access to CTX, and then post await CTX db post find first, right? And then order by descending order, right? So the last, but whichever is the last one, go on the top, right? In that way you have the access to first data. Okay, where created by his user ID, right? Just give, this is just the options. Okay, like arrange your data in the descending order, then just access with the user, whoever is logged in, last name, right, or notes, whatever it is inside here. So this is just the query. Okay, and then return the post, right? If no post, then return null, right? That is all. There is post true, then return it. If not, return null. Good to go. That is all. And then get secret message, right? So what is this? You can now see this secret message, whatever, I don't know what is. So if you want to call this one get secret message, so protected a procedure query, and then there is nothing. I'm just returning some text, right? Fine. So this is the, so now you're gonna write all your routes here. API, basically in the server, right? API routes, and here let's say I have the another maybe node. I'll just create node.ts, right, and write same thing. And I'll just copy paste all this here and start writing, right? Maybe for all the operation, create, read, update, delete, right? That's what we have to do. But let's look at the UI now, right? UI, how whole API is used. That is important. I have not looked at, I told you before, right? So let's go back again, because I was just reading through all this document. I mean, just looking, right, and try to understand what is happening here. So the next thing is, let's see. Now I need to go to the UI. Okay, the front page, what we see here, right? This one. Let's find that out. So in the source, of course, in the app, it will be in the app, right? And the component, here is the post component. You can see use state is there. You calling your import API from the TRPC React, right? Okay, so this is the TRPC React, which we saw earlier here. This one, okay. Here we importing API. Maybe it has some use case. We'll check that. So the const, how you gonna get the latest post, right? So API post get latest. Look at here, API. Now this API has access to all your API, right? Which we have created in the server API router here. That is the post, right? So API post, see, API, it has access directly to this post. And then in the post, you have get latest. There was the get latest, right? Get latest, see that this one. You access this, that means you are calling this whole thing, right? That's what happened. So use suspense query, right? So get latest, and then this is one of the maybe function, I believe from the Cran stack, I think use suspense query, right? But anyways, just say you have to use that function, right? Just call that one, and then we have access to the latest post here. Also utils, API utils, whatever we have, maybe somewhere. I don't know where is that utils, right? Then the name, set name, right? So this, see, this is the one for the setting name, right? Later in the form, okay? So let's go back here, create post, API post create, and the use mutation, right? We have to use that when you create something. On success, async function await utils dot post. So that's what the utils is used for, right? And the invalidate, I don't know why, I mean, is here, right? In the beginning is empty. So invalidate, I think this will validate this post, right? Something, but I am not sure, right? What is all that doing? But let's go back now and try to look at here on the form, right? So here, when you submit the form, right? Prevent defaults, you don't want to refresh the page. Create post dot mutate and pass the name, right? So if you look at this create post, where is that? And where is that create post function? We import somewhere. Here. This is the one, right? So just call that function and then dot mutate and pass the value, right? Name. This name is here, okay? This name you passing, right? Every time you enter this function on submit, this function will run, okay? This function will run and it will send that name to the database to the API, right? Which we have seen already. Now in the input field here, when you type something, right? We're just setting that value, target value to our use state hook. That is all we are doing here. But we're not going to, we're not going to use this, right? We have to use the SATCN to do most of the work, okay? This is normal, like using use state and all that. A simple example, right? So create post is pending. So if like when creating the post, right, there will be state like is pending. If that is true, then just call this submitting, else submit, right? Once it's finished submitting, then it will display this submit, okay? So that is all is here. So we can see now, right? I mean, understanding only this part, okay? Here, how you like accessing, displaying plus how you can submit some data, right? So you can see here latest post display. If there is latest post, just display this, right? If not, you have no post, okay? Display this. Fine. Done. Let's look at quickly that. Let's set up the SATCN, right? How we can set up SATCN, okay? That is also the requirement, so we must do that. And then tomorrow, what I will do, I'm just gonna maybe have some exercise, right? Using SATCN, simple project, okay? Like creating something nodes. We're gonna create a schema. We're gonna write the routers here, right? Whatever routers for schema we're gonna write. And then in our page, so to create any route, right? Route will be same thing. App, always app, and then you add like let's add maybe about, right? About route, okay? Or maybe post route. You're just gonna need page, right? PSX, and just call it about page, right? So you have access to this about page, okay? If you go back here and then slash about, that's how it will work, right? You have access to about page already, okay? So, and the like in the app everything is app, based on app, right? So there is a layout, same thing what we have seen. You have to change the title, description, all that, right? And see, it is wrapped in the TRCP React provider, right? This is the context API, context API from the Next.js, right? Or maybe React, okay? That's why you wrap something here in this provider. So anything pass through this one gonna follow this TRPC development procedure, right? You have to follow that procedure. Okay, so let's install this Satsian quickly and see how it works now. So I'm gonna cancel this Satsian part. Let's see, where is Satsian? We don't have. Okay, let me find. Man, let me just quickly look for that. Satsian. So see, this is the Next.js project. So it will be, like same procedure. Just go to the installation, Next.js, with this npm, and right click, enter, right? And it will install, okay? Just give second. Newer, okay, fine. Natural, leave it, or maybe gray, just leave it that. CSS variable, yes. It will update tailwind config, it will update source style global CSS, it will update that. And done, right? It's finished. Now is step to test. So let's go back to the button. Let's like basically let's test one of these badge or maybe button. So go back here and install that. So in the app now, right, in the app you will see the component, or maybe outside, okay? Source folder has a component, right? And this gonna get UI. This UI will hold all our Satsian component. Okay, so we just install the button. What we can do is now you can use anywhere, right? So in the app, what I want to do is in the main page, right here, let's import that. Import button, right? And we have to use it. So there is a lot of things. I'm just gonna put somewhere below this. So let's use that button, right? And this is Satsian BTM, okay? Like that. Save. To go to the home page here, let's go to the home page, right? Delete this, enter. Did I think I cancelled the server, right? It's not running. Yeah, npm run dev, and refresh again one time. So this is Satsian button, you can see here, right? It's just because of the background you cannot see clearly, but it's there. Okay, it's there. I mean, we can add in the about page and check, right? Import button, and inside here, I mean, let's wrap in the heading one. This is about page, and we add the button, right? Button, not mutton, button, right? Click here to add, right? Save. Okay, and now if you go back to the about page, you will see that button. So you can see now, right? That's the button. So our Satsian working perfectly fine. So what we have learned, how to install that T3 stack, right? Then you can configure your GitHub to authenticate, and then look at the folder structure, and then install the SiteCN, right? Tomorrow we're gonna do simple projects, maybe full CRUD operation, right? We're gonna create schema, we're gonna write the API, and then we're gonna use that basically the form to submit the data. Then the data will all the list of data will display. Then we're gonna do update and delete CRUD operation. We'll try to do that tomorrow. Okay, guys, let's stop here.